Different kind of video for you today. Since it's nice out and soccer's been on my mind, I wanted to address kind of a big thing, especially when it comes to rec soccer, and want to give you my perspective on it. So if you are a player, a parent, family member, or maybe even another coach, stay tuned for this one. Hopefully, this is going to reach you. So, just a little about myself first. This is going to be my 8th season as a rec soccer coach. I've been coaching 5th and 6th grade girls for almost 4 years now, and it's been so much fun. And during that time, I have been blessed with absolutely amazing parent support and family support, amazing players, amazing assistant coaches, and I've also had some really large teams as well. Yeah, somewhere on the medium side. I had maybe 13 or 14 one of the seasons, but the last few seasons I've had like 18, 19, 20 girls on the team. Some people aren't super excited about those numbers. When you have teams that large, parents are sometimes not super excited about it. And the players sometimes aren't the most excited about it. But I want to give you some reasons as a coach, from my perspective, why having 19, 20, 22 players on a rec soccer team is not necessarily such a bad thing. I'll lead with the first thing that I usually hear. Like when my team has 20 players, the first thing I'll have is a parent reach out and say, I'm concerned about my child's playing time. I'm concerned that they're going to be sitting on the bench a long time, that they're not going to get to play as much as what I would like them to, as much as they would like to. And I completely understand that. When you have a larger team size, you are going to sacrifice a little bit of playing time. That's just a natural consequence. But from my perspective, I know I try my best. I know other coaches do try their best as well to try to even playing time as much as possible. At least half the game is what we try to do. And I feel like I do a pretty decent job with that, even with bigger size teams. That sounds like a big problem, but I can promise you coaches try their best to make sure that that's not an issue at all. So let's talk about some of the benefits of having a larger team. One of the big benefits is that when you have a smaller team, you can't usually do the drills quite as much. Yeah, that means more foot on ball time and more touches. That's not necessarily the best for a lot of real game situation type drills. One big reason I love having a larger team is that we can make real game scenarios. We play 9v9 in our 5th and 6th grade groups, and having that larger team with at least 18 people allows us to do just that. And even if we play with another person or two per side, that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Drills you can usually get by on with smaller teams, but there are some that are made for bigger groups. But where it really pays off having a larger group is in the whole group scrimmage, which I try to do at the end of every single practice so they get some gameplay experience among themselves. As a coach, I'd much rather have one or two more players per team and make it more like a high school type soccer game that they will be playing in a couple years than to have like 5 versus 5 or 6 versus 6. Makes that game day situation feel a lot different. Having that whole group really makes the scrimmages run a lot smoother and a lot more like a real game situation would. Another reason that bigger teams can be better is the fact that during game situations, you are fresh the entire game. I can't tell you the number of times over the last 3.5 years that my teams have faced another team that only had 10 or 11 girls, and like I said, we play 9v9. If even one of those girls is gone on that other team, that means virtually no subs, and that gets to be a major problem for them. And I honestly feel bad for that other team if we're able to sub like we have. We have 20 players per team, and they don't. Now, obviously, that makes our job a lot easier because we've got fresh legs. Our girls can sub, they can stay hydrated, they can cool off, they can get some rest on the bench and go back in a couple minutes. Those smaller teams can't do that. Yeah, it's a good competitive advantage, but still at this age, you don't really want to see that. So having more players allows you to stay fresh, allows you to stay hydrated, and allows you to just play a much smoother game. Another benefit is time on the bench. Now, I know that sounds weird, but learning doesn't just happen on the soccer field. It happens while you're watching the soccer game as well. This is always the hardest one for players and parents alike to be able to wrap their head around and truly appreciate. As a coach, I love having my players on the sidelines so that they can watch what's going on out on the field. They can see things from a different perspective, and we can discuss what they're seeing and what they should be doing differently when they go back in. Maybe it's a way that their own team is playing, maybe it's a way that the other team is playing, but things that they're noticing that will maybe make life a little bit easier and allow them to play better, allow the team to be better when they go back in. Now, like I mentioned, my players play at least half the game, hopefully more, and they don't have a ton of time on the bench, but when they are, I try to make the most of it, and I want them to be making the most of that time as well. So that's a huge, huge thing for me. Yeah, it's more fun to be in the game and actually taking part in things, but being able to reflect on how you're playing, how your teammates are playing, how the other team is playing, that can be just as big. Another situation that we run into, and the benefit of having a larger team, is that during the spring season, we have a large number of other activities going on. We got vacations, we have softball, we got dance, we've got just other sports stuff going on. So not every single Saturday that we have games are we necessarily going to have every single one of our players there. If we have 20 players on the team, I've had times in the past where we've only had 13 or 14 of them at the game. And having that larger number allows us to still have subs. It allows us to be able to field our team and still feel like we have that competitive advantage over another team that might not have subs. It also allows the other players to not feel so bad if they do have other engagements that they have to be at, other sporting events or other activities. That way they know that, hey, even if I'm not there, the team is still good. I guess my biggest point is that we can look at a larger team as, oh, well, we're going to be losing out on playing time. But if we can change our perspective and be able to see that it can be a good thing, it doesn't hurt the players, it actually can benefit them, keeps them fresh, keeps them in the game, allows them to reflect, allows them to watch, see things from a different perspective, can actually be a really, really good thing. So, just throwing that out there. Hope you keep that in mind.